Hi everyone, and thanks for joining this live webinar that we've got here today. We're Velocity Academy. So Velocity Academy, we're a training provider, independent training provider, specialised in apprenticeships, learner loans, adult education funding, and we do it across a variety of different sectors. One of them being health and fitness and personal training. And the webinar today, as you can see here from the front slide, is how to fund my personal training course. Because currently there's a load of different opportunities out there at the moment. Funding opportunities, so you don't always have to pay for your qualification. Um, the bounce back from COVID has meant that the government is wanting to get as many people back into work in education as possible. And how they do that is via funded provision. And there are many different routes and avenues that you can do to fund your personal training course now. So you don't have to pay a load of money to do it anymore. And that's what we're going to run through today on these slides. So just kind of moving on, a little bit of an introduction about myself, just to kind of get it started. I'm Ben Newbold, Managing Director of Velocity Academy. Velocity Academy is incorporated since 2014 as an independent private training provider. We deliver qualifications across a variety of different sectors, one of them being health and fitness, personal training, sports massage. But we also deliver qualifications and apprenticeship provision across technology. So we do data qualifications, digital marketing qualifications, IT support qualifications, and also a variety of different business qualifications. So management, higher level management qualifications, and also business admin. Um, Personally, though, I've over 10 years experience in funded provision, um, a variety of different sectors, worked within management, fitness, IT, accounting. So all of these different areas I have an understanding about in terms of funded provision, how to fund qualifications via apprenticeships, how to fund qualifications via learner loans, adult education funding. And these are the areas that we're going to talk about today. So next slide, a little bit of a breakdown over what we're going to cover during this webinar. So firstly, we're going to have a look at the personal training sector and the qualification as an overview. So things you need to look out for, because there's a ton of different personal training qualifications out there currently, but how do you know the one that you're selecting is the one that you can build a career on? How do you know the one that you're selecting is one that you can get insured for? So these are key areas that we're going to have a look at there in terms of the overview. Also, next, we're going to have a look at opportunities within 2022 for personal trainers. So in the year ahead, what is that landscape going to be like if you are wanting to go into this as a profession? So we are going to look at that. And then we're going to have a look at the different funding provisions available. So we're going to have a look at what adult education budget funding is, what advanced learner loan fund is, what apprenticeship funding is, and kind of giving you an insight into what would be the best for the current position that you are in, what would be the best financial avenue to go down in order to fund your qualification. And then finally, if funding isn't your thing, you do actually want to pay for your qualification, we've got a little bit about commercial courses as well. So that is the breakdown of today's webinar. So first and foremost, we're going to have a look at personal training qualifications as a whole. Now, I'll be perfectly honest. So my background, when I qualified as a personal trainer way over 10 years ago now, um, I paid for my qualification. And believe it or not, my qualification personally cost £3,500, £3,500. It were a fast track qualification. It was 6 week, sat in a classroom, and also in a gym. But if we think of the price of that now, and it was just for the standard level 2 fitness instructor qualification and the level 3 personal training qualification. Looking at that now, that's almost like inflation backwards. The cost of these qualifications isn't that amount of money. So when you are seeing a personal training qualification for that amount of money now, um, you have got to question it. Where's the ethics within this? What's the added value that constitutes it being this price? And also, are they just doing it to line the pockets? So have a look out for those things. At that moment in time, though, I wasn't aware of any funding avenues that I could go down in order to gain the qualification that I wanted to do. And so that evidently made me put my money in my own pocket and pay for that qualification. Um, so here we're just going to have a look at what you need to look out for when you're looking at personal training qualifications. First and foremost, before you even look at a training provider, I would recommend to look for an awarding body. So awarding bodies you might be familiar with, like EdXL, City and Guilds. Um, these are awarding bodies that kind of give the certificates out. They kind of govern the standards, and they create the certificates and send them out to the learners. Um, so look for a reputable awarding body. Now, the largest awarding body within the health and fitness sector within the UK currently is an awarding body called Active IQ. So look out for their qualifications because they are the ones that are most recognizable. You can go internationally with them as well. So Active IQ qualifications are an international qualification. If you want to, because we've had a number of students qualify and then go over to Australia, go to Dubai, do some training there, work as a personal trainer, go over to the States. Look for a reputable awarding body that is recognized not only nationally but also internationally. Active IQ would always be my recommendation on that one. And then also, when you are looking at your training providers, um, make sure that you look for a reputable one. So, would you send your child to a school if you knew that that school wasn't audited or governed? Because we all know that schools have Ofsted reports and Ofsted ratings. And nine times out of 10, if you are looking to send your child to a school or a nursery, for example, you'd want to ensure that it has a good Ofsted rating. So, are the training providers that are not governed or audited by Ofsted or have experience within it, are they trustworthy enough to be able to kind of be in control of your education? How do you know that they're doing the right things? Because Ofsted is an independent body for the government. They they're not just going to give people a grade one rating for no reason. So ensure that your training provider is audited, is governed by Ofsted, because believe it or not, not all of them are. And the screenshots that we have here on this slide, so the first one is a Udemy screenshot. Now, Udemy, Skillshare, there's loads of different websites like this now that literally just host online courses. And you might be able to search for online personal training course, and you'll see some on there for like £15, £20. These are not accredited qualifications. This is literally somebody in their bedroom with a webcam creating the syllabus from the top of their own head and then uploading the recordings. You're not actually going to get a certificate at the end of it. You're not going to be insured at the end of it. So, although these platforms do serve a purpose and do serve a place, Udemy and Skillshare would be brilliant if you want to learn about a hobby, for example, and not make a career out of it. But if you are wanting to take that next step and actually start earning money from personal training, you need to study an accredited qualification through an accredited awarding body. The next screenshot is it's actually a new one that kind of dropped on my desk. It's Pure Gym. So Pure Gym are actually now starting their own personal training courses. Now you might see it from the offset. Wow, Pure Gym, big brand, reputable brand within our sector. Um, but are they audited and governed via Ofsted? Are they on the register of training providers and training organizations? The answer to that is no. So, although they do have this big brand at what they do, and they have X amount of gyms and X amount of members, does that transfer that they're going to be a good training provider? Does that transfer that they're governed via Ofsted? The answer to that is no, not yet. So again, look at your training providers, look and see which ones are good. You would trust a college because you understand that a college is governed by Ofsted and that's what they do. They teach people for a living. Pure Gym doesn't. It's a gym. So make sure you do your due diligence. Or if you are wanting to kind of go with Pure Gym, maybe leave it a while, see what their first couple cohorts are like, and if they are running through smoothly, um, and then take the plunge. But my experience would be never go with a training provider straight off the bat if they've not got a track record in delivering provision. So, how to make sure that it's a reputable and accredited qualification? So, check the awarding body. Active IQ is my example, and that's my recommendation as well. Check that the training providers are governed via Ofsted, because believe it or not all of them are. It's very, very easy to set up a commercial training provider now. And if you are just a commercial training provider and you don't deliver funded provision, Ofsted are not going to touch you, because Ofsted audit the funding delivered via the government. Um, so therefore, literally anybody could set up a commercial training provider and it not be governed. It's like anybody being able to become an electrician, or a bricklayer or a joiner, just because they say so, and and there's no actually governance there around that. And then check the qualification units. So this is where you would have a look at the Udemy example that I gave on the previous slide. When you look at the qualification, are they at, is it an award? Is it a certificate? Is it a diploma? What level is this qualification at? If you're not actually gaining any information on that, chances are that it is literally a qualification that somebody has written in their back room to a webcam. So ensure that you check these qualification units out. So just moving on to the next slide, we're going to have a look at the opportunities in 2022 for personal trainers within the fitness landscape. So I do have a chart here. So this is the market size for gyms, health and fitness clubs within the UK industry from 2011 to 2021. And believe it or not, this is in billions of pounds. So the gym, health and fitness industry does bring in a good amount of revenues for the UK government in terms of tax revenues, um, because in total it's worth over £1 billion. Well, £2 billion in some years. So just a little bit of context here, because you might see this graph and you're like, whoa, hold on a minute, Ben, why are you showing us this graph here? And it's showing that there's actually a decline in 2021. Well, you're probably going to know that we did have a pandemic just around the corner in the past, and currently still living within, just learning how to deal with it. And unfortunately, in 2020, there was a lot of stimulus and propping up, should I say, within the health and fitness industry. Um, there was a lot of money given to the government to health and fitness clubs just in order to kind of stay open, because they closed them. And then when they started reopening again, the consumer confidence and the confidence of people to actually get back out into the gyms is still within that building stage. And unfortunately, a couple of facilities have fallen victim to that. Um, so that's why you see a little bit of a decline there within the 2021 period, which, given what we've just been through, is understandable. Um, so every day, thousands of fanatics hit the gym to keep in shape. However, the coronavirus pandemic, which swept across the world in 2020, had a significant impact on the fitness industry, and many of them had to close. So while the market size of the fitness industry in the UK grew above £2 billion in the years leading up to the pandemic, forecasts suggest that the value of the industry will fall to 1.62 billion English pounds within 2021. Now, you can look at that and think, oh gosh, this might not be a good opportunity to get in. Or alternatively, if you look at it from an economic point of view, this could be a great time to get in. Because can you see the gap in fall between 2020 to 2021? Where that gap is, there is opportunity. So people were ploughing in more or less another £400 million into the UK fitness industry the previous year. That £400 million is not just going to go. There's a capacity there for that to be spent again. So now is a great time to get into the fitness industry, because you know that there is that upper limit capacity that you can get back into it with. Um, there are plenty of health and fitness gyms that are opening at the moment. And because we also at Velocity do work in apprenticeship recruitment, we're going through a phase at the minute within recruitment that we've never been through before. We've got employers, we just cannot get people to fill the vacancies. Um, example, another company that I know, they have 86 open vacancies with employers at the moment, um, and they cannot get people to fill them. So there is opportunity there. There is literally jobs there awaiting for this industry. It's just getting people back into the industry. So plenty of opportunity from 2022 and moving forward within the personal training sector. So the first bit of funded provision that we're going to have a look at is the adult education budget, or AEB funding as it's known. So adult education budget, what is it? So in order to be eligible for adult education budget, you need to be 19 years old or older, and you can be employed or unemployed. So it doesn't matter if you're currently working as a in a warehouse, for example, on contracted hours. You don't have to be unemployed in order to be eligible for this funding. To be eligible, you need to be the qualification that you're wanting to do for adult education budget funding needs to be your first level 3 qualification. So you cannot have already studied and achieved A levels, or you cannot have already studied or achieved previous level 3 qualifications. In order to be eligible for this funding, you need to be 19 years old or older, employed or unemployed, but then studying your first level 3 qualification. You also need to be a resident in areas in England, in areas of England outside of a devolved authority that are undertaking ESFF funded AEB funding. Now, I'm not going to go through every postcode in every area because literally we have a spreadsheet and it has over 1 million postcodes on there. So the best thing to do is, if you think, oh, am I eligible for this funding? What you would need to do is contact a training provider or contact Velocity Academy. We would take your postcode, we'll do a couple eligibility checks, and we would then find out if your postcode is within this location, within a locality where you can get this funding. And you also need to be a citizen of a country within the European Economic Area. So, standard rule of thumb, if you're a UK resident or a UK citizen, you're going, that'll tick that box right there. So that is the adult education budget. That's what it is. This budget will facilitate and fully fund your first level 3 qualification. There's no contribution that you need to make towards it. There's no loan at the end of it. There's no debt being built up. It is literally a free qualification, as if you would go to college when you're 16, 17 years old and study for free. That is the adult education budget, and that is what is available. So how do you get it? How do you get eligible for it? How do you know if you are eligible for this funding? So you would contact Velocity. We would ask you a couple of eligibility questions, and we would look at the learner record service to check your prior learning history, because there may be qualifications that you completed years and years ago that you just forgot about. So we do need to do those background checks. And then we would check your postcode location. And then if you are eligible, it is literally just a matter of filling out enrollment paperwork, and then you can begin your personal training qualification. And you would get that literally free of charge via the education funding budget. So that is AEB funding. So any questions regarding that, feel free to get in contact with Velocity and we'll be able to check your eligibility for it. The second funding allocation is Advanced Learner Loan Funding. So Advanced Learner Loan Funding, in order to be eligible for this, you need to be 19 years old or older, employed or unemployed. So it doesn't matter if you are a chartered accountant, you can still use the Advanced Learner Loan Funding. And the Advanced Learner Loan Funding is available for qualifications between a level 3 and a level 6 standard qualification. So level 3 is equivalent to A level. Level 6 is equivalent to a third year university degree. So funding for this course can be applied for via Student Finance England. This is the same body that allocates student loans. So it is literally the same application process as a student loan because evidently an advanced learner loan is a student loan for individuals that are not going to university. Um, it's only available across certain qualifications that has this which has this funding attached to it. Uh, of that being personal training qualifications are one of them. So you can get your personal training qualification funded via an advanced learner loan. So you'll only repay. Sorry, no, I'll start again on that one. So what it is what it says on the tin. It is a loan. So the Student Finance England are paying for your qualification for you, and then you would then repay that loan back the exact same way in how you would pay back a university degree. So you'll only repay when your income is over £524 a week or £2,274 a month. This is before tax. So it's not net income, it's gross income. Or if you want to work on an annual basis, if you are earning any more than £27,295 a year gross income. So you would pay that back, and you would pay it back at a proportion of whatever your income is. If you are self-employed, for example, and or if you are working shift patterns and shift work where your income would fluctuate monthly, you would make repayments only when your monthly income goes over a certain parameter. So if you worked in sales and you got a lot of commission one month, um, you would only and it took you over the threshold, you would only pay when you get over that threshold, when commission and things like that are taken into consideration. And the repayments are deducted from your pay slip at source. So you don't actually have to schedule a direct debit or anything like that to make repayments back on an advanced learner loan. It is taken off of your pay slip. So when you get your pay slip with all your national insurance deductions, with all your PAYE deductions on there, basically it is taken from there, the exact same as what a university degree is. So that is the advanced learner loan, and that is what it is. So 19 plus, employed or unemployed, qualifications between level 3 to level 6. Student Finance England would pay for the qualification for you, and then you would then start to make repayments back when you start earning over a certain threshold income, which is just below £27,500 a year. So that is advanced learner loans. Advanced learner loans are a great way to finance a personal training qualification if you are not eligible for advanced education budget funding. So if you're not eligible, if you don't live within a certain demographic or postcode that is eligible for AEB, you can then look to step back and utilize advanced learner loan funding in order to fund your qualification. So how do you get it? How do you get advanced learner loan funding? So you would contact Velocity, and a course advisor will check your eligibility. So essentially, we would check that you are 19 or older. We would check that you are um, a UK citizen for the past 3 years, or from within a EAA uh, European European Economic Area (EEA) country, and if so, we would then look to complete enrolment paperwork with you, and then we would guide you and help you with your online application through Student Finance England. Once approved, which usually takes around 24 to 48 hours, you'll then be able to begin your course. Just one thing that I would like to mention on this though is that when you are completing the online application for an advanced learner loan, you do not get credit checked. It is a loan application where there are no credit checks. The exact same as a university loan. So there's no credit checks being done on you. It will not be on your credit history as well, and it doesn't matter if you have a poor credit history. Um, it's irrelevant for an advanced learner loan. So we're going to move on to our next funding provision, which is apprenticeship funding. So we've gone through adult education budget, we've gone through advanced learner loans, and now we're going to have a look at apprenticeship funding for how you can utilize this to finance a personal training qualification. So what is apprenticeship funding? So Apprenticeship funding, in order to be eligible for this straight away, you need to be 16 or older. And you need to be employed in a job role that has a minimum of 16 contracted paid hours. So you need to be in a contract. You need to be in a contracted job. So unfortunately, like I know we hear within the personal training industry, there's a lot of freelance positions. If you are freelance working in a gym, you cannot do an apprenticeship because it needs to be contracted hours that you are paid. Um, is one of the eligibility criteria in order to be eligible for apprenticeship funding. Your qualification will be completed over a 12-month period because apprenticeships cannot be completed any less than 12 months and a week. So that's the length of stay for an apprenticeship in personal training. Your qualification will be fully funded from the learner's point of view, but from an employer's point of view, the employer could be subject to contributing 5% of the course fees depending upon the student criteria. So if the student is aged between 16 to 18, the apprenticeship is fully funded, 100% funded by the government. If the apprentice is 19 or older, the employer would have to pay a 5% contribution to the course, to the cost of the qualification. The reason for that is because the apprenticeships are employer led, and because they're employer led, they want to ensure that employers are invested into the apprenticeship program. Usually, the 5% contribution is not a lot of money. So, say for example, within the personal training qualification, within the personal training apprenticeship, it is £200. And that £200 can be divided into 10 monthly payments of £20 a month. So it's not a lot of money, especially for an employer. £20 a month in order to put one of your employees through a qualification. It's it, it's doable, um, and you will learn on the job whilst earning a salary and gaining work experience. And this is the one thing that apprenticeships are absolutely brilliant at doing. Um, you're not only gaining the academic knowledge through the qualification, you are gaining the hands-on experience in the job whilst doing it. And also a positive is that you're earning a salary whilst doing it as well. So you're actually learning on the job and getting paid to do so, which is absolutely fantastic. Apprenticeships are a fantastic alternative to university because you could go to university and study a health and fitness degree. You come at the end of it and you still can't work as a personal trainer. Whereas you could do a personal training apprenticeship, you're gaining the personal training qualifications, which enables you to become self-employed after if you want to be. You can get insurance, um, and yeah, you can gain your qualification whilst actually working and earning. And the massive positive to that is when you do it via an apprenticeship, there's no debt. There's no debt to pay back at the end of it, so you don't need to pay back a £50,000 student loan for the rest of your life when you take out an apprenticeship program. So that is apprenticeship funding and how that can be taken basically for a personal training qualification. So how do you get it? So first and foremost, you need to contact Velocity. Um, and prior to this, I mean, if you are an individual wanting to do a personal training apprenticeship and you don't currently work in a gym, still contact us because we've got a number of gyms looking for people at the moment. So still contact us and we can have a look at putting you forward for an interview for this. Whereas if you are a gym owner and you're thinking, all right, yeah, maybe I should put some of my staff onto this to fund their qualifications. Um, if you are a gym owner or an employer, contact us as well. And what we can do is we can guide you through the eligibility um, for the apprenticeship training and the provision. And currently, because we're bouncing back out of the pandemic, the government are giving incentives out for employers that hire apprentices, no matter what apprenticeship program that they take, personal training included. So if you are an employer and you want to take an apprentice on, you would be eligible for £3,000 cash incentive from the government for doing so. That number increases to £4,000 if you take an apprentice on aged between 16 to 18. When you enroll, apprenticeship paperwork will be completed online, and there would also be an online application that the employer would need to complete as well. And then once you enrolled, you were then allocated a tutor. The student would begin their apprenticeship. And when you choose to study through Velocity via an apprenticeship, there's no college days. There's no days where you need day release from work. We come to you, and we also commit a lot of studying online when enrolling through Velocity Academy. So that is apprenticeship training provision via uh, for personal training qualifications. And then finally, we're going to have a look at commercial courses. So if you are not eligible for any of the funding available or the funding opportunities available, you can also self-fund a qualification. But just keep in mind what I mentioned earlier on in the webinar. In order to setting up a training provider is relatively easy if you're not looking to deliver funded provision. So anybody can do it. So you want to ensure that even if you are paying for your qualification, it is through a training provider that is audited and is governed via Ofsted, because that's when you know that the independent inspections are done on their on their um, um sorry on their training courses. You would expect colleges to have an Ofsted rating. You would expect schools. You would expect nurseries. So why not expect independent training providers? So even if you are paying for your course, look and quiz the training provider on these things to make sure that they do have a good track record of delivering qualifications. So if you're not eligible and just prefer to pay for your course, you can also do this through Velocity. On our website, in our short courses section, you'll be able to see all of the courses that we have available and their prices attached to them. And we've also added the hyperlink into this slide here as well. So always feel free to click on there and have a look. Or to go to our website, just navigate yourself to the short courses section and you'll be able to find all of the different courses that we deliver commercially on, on, on there. And then finally, we're going to have a look at the actual qualification. So the advanced PT diploma qualification when you choose to study it through Velocity Academy. So this is the qualification that you would gain, whether it be funded via AEB, Learn Alone, or an apprenticeship, or if you were to pay for it. This is the exact same qualification. So you would gain your level 2 gym instructor qualification, which is made up of these 5 units. So you've got anatomy and physiology in there, professionalism and customer care, health and safety, how to conduct client consultations, and then planning and instructing gym-based exercise. So they are the units that are built up that create the level 2 gym instructor qualification. Once completed, you would then move into the level 3 personal trainer qualification, which are then made up of these units here from 6 to 11. So you've got, again, a higher level anatomy and physiology unit. You have a level 3 nutrition unit in there. You have a unit where you understand lifestyle, health, and well-being, and also common medical conditions. Because believe it or not, not everybody that you train when you're a personal trainer is a full, fit, and healthy person. Actually, the majority of your clients might have a medical condition, because that's the reason why they need to look to somebody to try and train them. Unit 9 is encouraging positive health and fitness behaviors in clients. Unit 10 is program design. And then Unit 11 is professionalism and business acumen for personal trainers. So ensuring that you know how to work as a personal trainer, you know how to balance your books as a personal trainer, you know how to be a successful personal trainer, basically. So that is what you learn from that unit. And then not only do you gain your standard level 2 and level 3 qualifications within the advanced PT diploma, you also have these short e-courses as well that kind of touch upon different areas and elements of the personal training sector. So you've got an e-course in fitness testing assessments. You have one in coaching clients with diabetes. You have one in advanced bodyweight training. You also get an additional course in coaching clients with obesity. You get an additional course in coaching clients that are older. You also get an additional course in how to become an online trainer. And then finally, an additional course in foam rolling as well. So you gain all of that additionality along with your core level 2 gym instructor and level 3 personal training qualifications. So, if you do have any questions about funding, what could be the correct funding route for yourself, or if you're just unsure, if today hasn't covered everything that you wanted to get from it, we're always here to help. I mean, funded provision, funded training, commercial training, it's what we do and we have done for years and years. So if you do have any questions or queries, or if you have a specific qualification that you want to study and you're just thinking, I don't want to fork out X amount of money for it. Can I get it funded? I'm not too sure. Contact us. We'll be able to check. We'll be able to have a look, and we'll be able to help out because at the end of the day, we're in the business of getting people into work and education. And that's what we want to do, be at the forefront of our bounce back from this pandemic. So if you've got any questions, feel free to go to our website, feel free to contact us on our number, and alternatively, we've got an email address there as well that you can ask any questions on. But either way, I hope this webinar has been helpful, everybody, and I'll look to see you on the next one.